Go ahead and call this meeting to order. First off, on behalf of the Commissioner's Office, please accept my apologies for our late start. That's rare for us, and do sincerely apologize for getting a late start. I hope everybody got to enjoy their St. Patty's Day weekend. I know some did more than others, but we're thankful to have everybody with us today. With the exception of our colleague, Commissioner Fix, who's under the weather today. And he's fine, I'm sure, but hopeful that he's feeling better soon and able to rejoin us. With that, the next section of our meeting is the opportunity for the public to address the commission. If you would like to do so, please begin by stating your name and residential address. We do have a 3-minute guideline, which we would appreciate your courtesy on today. We do have a full morning schedule. Under those rules, is there anyone who would like to address the commission at this time?
Name is Ray Steeman. Live at 2444 West Point Road, Lancaster, Ohio. And I have a couple of comments to make this morning. Came to my attention that the London bank closed down, England, and when they closed down, they received $36 million in bonuses to stay open. But they allowed them not to stay open, but stay closed. And the banks received this money. So, same thing will happen in the United States, I guess. That happens here. Small banks are the source of money for small businesses. And in communities, small communities will close down, the businesses will close. And this is going to affect a lot of people when the banks do close. So be aware of it. And the comment I have to make here this morning is that as I pray this morning, there's a comment I'd like to present to you. Praise is the secret of prayer. Praise is the secret of faith, without a doubt. Praise is a cleanser, driving every doubt out. Praise is the spark plug of faith, to be sure, airborne, soaring above doubt when going through a storm. Praise is the highest form of prayer, just because it blends petition with faith, bypassing man's flaws. The element that does find fuel triumphant faith is perpetual, progressive, heartfelt praise. Those words were put together by my wife, who is a poetess. She writes poetry on the side. But our prayers are to Jesus, our Lord. Pray. Lord, we come before you this morning. We thank you and praise you for this time, that we can glorify you in this day. We can look to you at any time, pray to you, talk to you, and receive your words in many different ways. Help us, Lord, to use those words, glorify you, and praise people that are working and doing their work and their job. And we praise you for the opportunity just to bring praise to you. Amen.
Sir.
Good morning. Well, more headlines. Billions of COVID jab doses are being banned worldwide. Parliament members call the COVID shot a scam, the biggest corruption scandal in the history of the European Union. Parliament member said no one asked for a permit, not even us representatives who were elected by the citizens to protect their health and their property. Next, what COVID did that was good? It cracked education industry's monopoly. Since nationwide school closures in the spring of 2020, parents have become aware that public schools are failing to effectively educate their kids. So parents are looking for alternatives for their children. Education market is changing. Parents now seeing themselves as consumers and considering other options. Families who have left public schools are not coming back. Better customer service they find, and they are having learning that aligns with their own values. Next, over $700 million in COVID aid for U.S. schools never made it to the classroom. This was a study that was done by NOP, which is National Opportunity Project, and it revealed that in this that this was has not reached its non-public schools. There was 736 million of federal aid that has not reached non-public schools, and at least 157 million that states didn't allocate to non-public schools has ended up back in the hands of the governors who reallocated the money to pet projects. Yeah. That's our tax monies that people are just spending the way they want it. Also, next one is must watch. DC residents reject the Fauci and Mayor Bowser during a door-to-door vaccine drive. Yeah, you ought to go to the website. I have that on the sheets here too. And also, there's a blocked government report that finds fluoride lowers kids' IQ. And everybody was telling me earlier in the 70s, oh, yes, you have to have fluoride in your water. So the case heads now to court. And the analysis found that 52 of 55 studies saw a lower IQ with higher fluoride exposures, demonstrating remarkable consistency. I think people had better be looking closer and more diligently at what's happening in the health field. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do not mean to be disrespectful and not make much eye contact, but I need to read this to stay focused. So just bear with me. I'm not trying to be rude. So my name is Margaret Leith, and my husband and I live at 7250 Cattail Road in Pleasantville. My son and his family lives at 7280 Cattail Road, and my nephew and his family live at 7500 Cattail Road. My son and my grandsons hope to work the land on our little 150 acres for years to come, and we would really like to see that happen. We're trying to set it up so they can. So, of course, we're concerned about the solar projects that's trying to come into our area. And I know you've heard all the concerns about our wells, our air quality, if there's a fire, what all that proposes, the quality of the land after decommissioning, the safety for our children that are living and playing in that area, riding bikes up and down that road. So, and there's also the land values. And I know that's a big thing on a lot of minds. There have been studies conducted on the diminished property values within proximity to solar projects. I have a copy of the report that I will leave with you that shows that there are declines anywhere from 6.3 to 30%. You're welcome to read the report. I'll hand over to you. It's my understanding that the Walnut Township trustees have set forth a rule that community solar cannot be placed on farmland. Kudos to them. However, I would not be shocked if the solar companies with big pockets would find a loophole to get around that. There are bigger, above the 50 megawatt projects still in the works in Fairfield County. 2 are within Walnut and Liberty Townships, 1 is in Amanda. That is why I'm here urging our commissioners to create, and I'm not sure if this is the correct terminology, an exclusionary zone for Walnut Township as well as other townships whose constituents do not want solar projects encroaching anywhere close to their properties. That is all I have to say today, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Jim Reed, and I do not live on Cattail. I live at 1815 Bickle Church Road, Baltimore, Ohio, and I'm here to speak against the solar farms. It's kind of my understanding that the solar industry has kind of come into Walnut Township and Fairfield County under the guise using rural and residential zoning, and it doesn't seem to be appropriate. It seems industrial zoning, which we do have in Walnut County, seems to make more sense, and I think it's not too late to make the effort to make that change. In a longer range thinking, it seems just counterproductive in the long range, and I'm sure it won't make difference anytime soon, that we continue to take farmland, good farmland, productive farmland out of production. You take 1,000 acres out for Intel, and you take 500 acres out in Fayette County for a battery production plant, and you have urban sprawl. You know, I'm sure it won't be tomorrow, but it seems somewhere down the line that we'll regret continuing to take good, productive farmland out of production and use it for something that could be done somewhere else. So again, I'm against the solar farms, and I hope you will give it some consideration. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Brett Rogers. I live at 10159 Cherry Inn in Baltimore. And I also am speaking on the solar, so I don't babble too much. I'm going to also just read down some thoughts that I put down. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. I previously have written to each of you regarding solar projects that are threatening our farmland and communities. I want to direct comments today towards what appears to be maybe a lack of urgency to resolve the issue. I continue to hear everybody around still learning about the issue. I believe there's, we know a lot about it. There's a lot of information out there about it. What I fear is without action, that we'll just sit back and once somebody applies to the siting board, then it's already out there and it'll be like, well, we can't do nothing about it. So that's why I'd like to act about it now. I don't believe the one seat that the commissioners in each township has on the siting board is going to do enough to stop anything that gets to that point. I don't see a lot of people lining up saying that they want solar farms in their communities, but I do see a lot of people that do not want it, giving up the land that they're, that they worked so hard for. These people that are leasing their land out. And they have no due regard to their neighbors or the impact of it. I'm guessing if the requirement was that you had to live on that piece of property that you were leasing, or it was adjacent to your property, there would be no one signing up for this. I don't believe any farmer would sign up if it was them. I have yet to see somebody that has leased their land or potentially leased their land to these companies that do live adjacent to their to the property that they leased. So that, I think, makes my point for that. I know we don't have all the answers of long-term solar effect for these farms. I know it's something that's not known yet. The immediate implications have already been discussed here. Lower property value, polluting the soil and adjacent properties, chemical runoff into streams and waterways, forcing wildlife to move closer to our cities and towns, which is constantly an issue anyway when they fence off these. Fire departments, I've talked to a couple already that say they have zero way to fight fires that start at these places. They just surround them. I believe that in Commissioner Fix's video online, he talked about how without paying attention to this stuff ahead of time in Violet Township, and look what happened there. There's all these problems up there. I think we'll be in that same boat if this happens here. Senate Bill 52, as you know, gives power back to that was previously taken away from commissioners. And it states, as was brought up briefly, second, it states, a board of county commissioners may adopt a resolution designating all or part of an unincorporated area of the county as a restricted area, prohibiting the construction of any kind of the following. And the first two are wind. The third one is a large solar facility. I don't believe we want the state making decisions for us, and I'm glad that they gave the power back to y'all to make these kind of decisions. I would suggest contacting the Ohio Siting Board and encourage them not to approve any more solar projects in Fairfield County. I think you have what you need in your hands to do this for us. I don't think that the growth is for the better good of the people. They only benefit the few, the landowners. We don't get anything from this. We don't get power from these power plants. We don't get reduced electrical rates because we live near them. I was surprised to see Commissioner Fix in your video, growth's coming, or in Commissioner Fix's that growth's coming. We should be ready for it. I don't think if we have, he mentions that we have the northern half of the county, the Intel employees will probably be looking at that area because it's 25 minutes away. It's good schools and everything. But if we turn this into an industrial zone up there, no one's going to come and build houses there. They're not going to come build by these places. So I think growth is coming. We can't get away from it, but I appreciate help in that state. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Melissa Connor, 7710 Cattail Road. I just want to follow up on what Mr. Reed was saying about the loss of farmland. An interesting statistic that I learned last night. Well, interesting and frightening. Between 2021 and 2022, the state of Ohio lost over 400,000 acres of farmland.
Anyone else who would like to address the commission at this time? Briefly.
Everybody, all of you who make these decisions need to remember, it is the American farmer that has kept America free. Wherever man has enough food, he's not anxious at all to unseat that government. But when food becomes scarce, and it does cost 60 to 80% of your income, then there's going to be the cries for revolt and revolution.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission at this time? On behalf of the Commissioner's Office, I want to thank you all for coming and appreciate your courtesy and your compliance with our rules. Thank you very much. County Administration update.
All right, American Rescue Plan update from the 30.6 received, 23.5 has been appropriated, 11.7 expended, and 4.3 encumbered or obligated. Commissioner Levacy and I had an opportunity to attend the CCAO open house for a legislative update for Licking, Perry, and Fairfield counties. This meeting offered an opportunity for us as well as Licking and Perry to share what their county priorities were with legislators, and then also to hear from our legislators as they're moving through the state budget process. Commissioner Levacy, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, it was a good opportunity to meet with our legislators as well as the commissioners. We had all three that represented the three counties as well as Senator Schaefer. And so it's a rare opportunity we have that we can all come together and actually have those conversations. So it was very worthwhile. Thank you.
And also received an update from the Buckeye Lake Region Corporation. Am I saying that right, Dave?
Yes.
So that was good to hear as well. Big Brothers Big Sisters has reached out to us requesting some volunteers for their Big for a Day program. They have a number of littles that are on their waiting list and looking for unique ways to engage those folks or engage folks with those kids. So we're going to be sending out an email seeking volunteers to help. Really, it's just a couple hours in an evening that employees would be looking to engage with those kids, and they could also learn more about being a mentor in that process. Highlights of resolutions. The review packet contains a list of administrative approvals, and for today's voting meeting, there are 35 resolutions. Couple of note, there is a resolution to approve a plan agreement with the County Commissioners Association for inclusion of the Workers' Compensation Group Retro Rating Plan. Jeff, do you want to add anything on that?
We've had a minor uptick in our workers' compensation rates, and that's based upon experience. The program continues to yield significant savings over time. I would note that public employers have not received this year a rate reduction as private employers recently did. That rate reduction was about 8% from workers' comp. We anticipate there will be some sort of reduction this year, but we're waiting on that.
Okay. The other resolution we have on is to approve recommendations and updates to the 2023 personnel policy.
Yeah, this was presented at our evening meeting when we were in Pleasantville. In addition to the changes that we discussed in Pleasantville, which included pre-employment drug testing, some changes to travel reimbursement, and the accumulation of airline miles, we do have a pretty significant change related to passwords and network that we've included just based upon recent security concerns. So the updates to the password section are also included in today's case resolution.
Thank you.
Yep.
And lastly, we have a resolution authorizing myself to approve an agreement with Excel Inc., which is doing business as DHL Supply Chain. And Rick, I know there was quite a process to bring us to this point. Would you like to share anything else?
Yeah, it's been fun. So this agreement is multiple entities. So it's a parcel in Violet Township, which has created a joint economic development district with Canal Winchester. And basically it's going to be one of the largest investments in Fairfield County, $55 million building. It will be a distribution center with a minimum of 200 employees and around $8 million in payroll, but we expect that will probably be significantly higher. That's kind of like, that's the bare minimum. And we will get about $2.9 million between the state and DHL for road improvements along Boswell Western Road to be able to help build out that entire corridor, to be able to help it become ready for employees and truck traffic. There's a lot of other developments that can happen around that area between Canal Winchester and Violet Township. This agreement includes the Fairfield County Port Authority because we will be involved in this from a capital lease standpoint. It includes Violet Township because it's in Violet Township. Canal Winchester is part of the JED. DHL, Pickerington Schools, which are also part of this agreement. It will be, well, at some point in the near future, we'll have a CRA agreement that will come forward, which is mentioned in this agreement, and that will provide a 15-year tax abatement, but there will be taxes that will go to the schools in lieu of that. So it's a big win, a big project. I want to thank the prosecutor's office and Amy Brown Thompson for their help along with this. We used outside counsel, but Amy jumped in and helped get this over the finish line for us and asked a bunch of good questions and good directions. So it was passed last night with the Winchester City Council. That was a big, one last big step. So all the other entities have approved it. We were the final ones to approve it, and then we will be starting Wednesday getting signatures on the document from all entities.
Thank you, Commissioners. Anything?
In That total road improvement is about a $10 million project. That's correct, right?
Yes, so to finalize the whole project will be 10 million, but with the other developments and things that will happen with this kind of as the start. We're expecting all the developers to contribute the way DHL has to be able to ultimately pay for that, those improvements. Yeah, and I also just real quick want to mention the engineer's office has been so helpful in helping get this project done, because without these road improvements, this cannot happen.
And they would be the ones doing the road improvement in that area.
So this will be the second largest investment from a building standpoint in the county.
Well, thank you for reporting on that. Budget review, Bart.
Yes, the revenue adjustments, increases in sales tax, charges for services, casinos, and as well as the reductions, conveyance fees and jail rental income has been updated in our modules, and we are aligned with Dr. Brown in those changes.
Recognition, County Auditor Dr. Brown shared that Todd McCullough, DD Director of Operations, set an encouraging note based on exceptional customer service and collaboration of the County Auditor's GIS team. County Auditor Dr. Brown thanked Miranda Gray with Adam H. for sharing her expertise of mental health first aid training during an all-team meeting for the County Auditor's Office. And then lastly, thank you to Bennett Neiswanger for his work on converting the Commissioner's Office over to the new phone system. So we've had a few bumps and appreciate Bennett's help and assistance with that. Rochelle, calendar review and invitations received, please.
Today, the commissioners have the Fairfield County Jail Tour at 11 o'clock. And that is at the Sheriff's Office Jail here in the county. Invitations were received for Fairfield County 4-H 2023 Achievement Award Program, April 4th at 6:45, and that is at Ohio University Lancaster.
Let's pause on that for a second. Are we doing certificates on that?
We are. Yeah.
Did they request?
Not yet, but we did for them last year. We're anticipating they will want them again this year.
We offered it up. We just haven't heard back from them confirming.
Well, I can be one of the, I know my colleagues would also like to go. I guess Commissioner Levis and I will both go to that event and, celebrate the achievement of these folks. Please continue.
Thank you. I
And
will
if you'll
calendar you.
put that on my calendar, I'll accept it.
All right. The third annual Kiwanis Club of Lancaster 5K, 10K walk and roll is May 20th at 9 a.m. at Hunter Park. The Ohio Council of County Officials Legislative Reception is April 19th from 5 to 7 at the Ohio State House Atrium. And the Workforce Center graduation is May 12th at 11:30 at the Fairfield County Workforce Center.
Let's talk about that for a second as well. What are you expecting there, Rick? What's going on? I mean, I understand you're having a graduation ceremony. I appreciate that, but I'm trying to get an idea on order of magnitude what the program is.
Yeah, so last year we had around 200 people there, so we invite family of other participants. We have about 55 students this year coming through. So we expect a few more schools. We invite the businesses that are hiring them to the event, commissioners, and then commissioners would love to speak at the beginning. And there will be cost back in barbecue. Selling point for everybody that would like to.
Commissioner Levis,
Yeah, I've already signed up to do it.
would you like to do the welcome there?
No, I think you should.
That didn't go the way I hoped. All right, calendar me for the welcome there, please.
I will do. Thank you. For correspondence received, we have the thank you letter and save the date from the Lancaster Festival. That will be July 20th through 29th. The Fairfield County Sheriff's Office reentry presentation titled Integrity, Commitment to Excellence, Community Involvement. And that is from the Sheriff's Office and Chief Scott Irwin and Lieutenant John Warner. We have a memo from Dr. Carrie Brown, the County Auditor, dated March 16th, subjects Board of Revision update, discussions with legislators, mental health first aid and resiliency training, and budget update. Ohio Attorney General's Office conference notice, theme empowering survivors to rebuild lives, May 8th through the 9th. March 2023 Imagine newsletter, Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities. Fairfield County Health Department Mosquito Control Services letter and form dated March 14th. Letter from Fairfield County resident regarding solar projects. Flyer from Lancaster Police Department regarding Citizen Police Academy. Lancaster Eagles Gazette article from Jeff Barron, County is asking for public's help in planning for future growth. Released from the Fairfield County Health Department on March 20th. Narcan kits now available through the Health Department. TC Energy, Columbia Gas Transmission LLC, landowner survey notification for parcel numbers 14833-00822 and 14833-05377. And finally, the Federal Emergency Management Agency sent some FEMA information regarding flood insurance rate map and flood insurance study. That is it.
Thank you, Rochelle. Jail population last week, the sheriff reported a total of 266, with 31 of those being contracted placements. And today the numbers are 259, with 33 of those being contracted. That's all I have, Commissioner.
All right, thank you. Under old business, Commissioner Levesey.
So last week, we had the opportunity to meet with the Chancellor of Higher Education, Rick Zabrak, Ani, myself, and Jeff LeRae. I think that meeting went very well, and asking for his support for our request for the budget for the Workforce Center. Rick, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, he was, for us, this was kind of a unique, how unique this setup is, what we have here. And as Dr. Young from Lincoln College said, the state for decades has been asking for out-of-the-box ideas and collaboration and those types of things. And that's exactly what we're doing here. So a strong case for us getting some funding. And he also mentioned how impressed he was with the collaboration that we're doing. So those collaboration we have. Hopefully.
So I also had the opportunity to attend the ODOT District 5 update, and I think that went very well. He talked about some of the future possibilities, one being the Pickerington interchange. So good information there, good sharing. They have a very good working relationship with our county engineer. So more and more I see collaboration is the thing that the state as well as local government to make things work. Everybody working together, pulling in the same direction, right? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Under old business, just last Tuesday, we had a meeting here in this room with our newly retained consultant, RLS, who's advising the county after their acquisition of data and analysis as to whether the county's current transit system is hitting the right policy point. And when I say county's current transit system, I know that's going to sound a little strange because Lancaster Fairfield Transit is a City of Lancaster department. They are cooperating with the county in getting this study done. The meeting was very well attended. We had representatives from Fairfield Medical Center, Midwest Fabricating, Claypool Electric, Meals on Wheels, Salvation Army, Lancaster Fairfield Transit, Mayor of Lancaster, and other entities who are interested in some slice of the transit pie. I think there are already some positives coming out of that meeting. What will happen there is that RLS will kind of lead the study project for the next 4 months, answering ultimately 2 questions: are we where we should be in terms of transit policy in the county? If not, where should that be? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is whether the current governance structure with Lancaster Fairfield Transit being a City of Lancaster department is appropriate, or whether that department should perhaps be transferred from the City of Lancaster to Fairfield County for operations. And we'll get that information back the next few months, and then we'll try to make good decisions on both of those questions. I do want to reiterate something I said at the meeting, just so people know. I mean, if you've been around for like 20 or 30 years, like I have, if people are studying an issue and putting together a group of people to look at an issue like transit that maybe should be improved, that's almost always a subterfuge for some tax increase that you want later to fund your new plan. And I just want to be crystal clear out of the gate. That's not what we're doing. There's no discussion about raising taxes to pay for transit. That's not in play at this time. So we're legitimately just trying to figure out what we do in an environment where 43% of people 16 to 19 years old now are choosing to get a driver's license. It used to be 90% when I was a kid. And then the number of folks who are out there trying to get by on $14, $13 an hour, where they living at that wage, and how are they getting from where they live to where they're trying to work. I know other folks have said over the past few years anyway, that people don't want to work anymore. You know, when I was a kid, I had 2 jobs, which I did. I had 2 jobs my whole life. But there actually are some people out there who do want to work. And if we can find them and get them to work, we'd like to do that. So that's what we're up to on that. Any other old business?
If I can make a comment regarding that.
Yes, you may.
With our meeting at CCNO yesterday, you were part of the topic of conversation regarding your post about transportation, but in a very positive way, I might add. That they appreciated that, because that's one of the topics that has not been to the forefront and needs to be, because it's a much bigger issue than I even realized. And I think you brought that to our attention.
Yes, CCAO was commenting on how you were able to share the realness of what's happening out there in a way that could hopefully move people to action.
Well, we'll keep studying and learning, and then importantly, we will finish the discussion. And that's something that has kind of been important to the Commissioner's office for the last decade, is it's all fun and fair to discuss and debate and discuss and debate, and then you must finish the conversation. And I just want people to know that we will do that as well with transit. We'll have the study, we'll have the discussion, and we will finish the conversation. We won't discuss it for 20 more years. Anything else under old business? New business, anything, Commissioner Levesey?
So thank you.
I don't have anything I wanted to get into right now under new business. Well, maybe one thing I wanted to thank, I think it was Bart, you might have got an assist from Stacy, but you put together a chart that I had requested regarding the history of the carryover going back to 2011. And I learned from your memo that something I had said might need clarification. I've said in more than one meeting or another that the fiscal position of the county has improved every year for the last 13 years. I think in one manner speaking that's accurate, but the data points out that in a couple of years, I think it was 2013 and 2015, we spent just a little bit more than we took in each of those years because of some monies that were allocated to building the new jail. One-time expenditures. What the data does reveal, though, is for the last 7 years and really for all 13 years, certainly from an operational standpoint, every year the county has spent less than it's taken in from a revenue standpoint. And people can say, well, that's bad or that's good. You can have whatever opinion you want on that. It's fine. But the point that we're trying to make in looking at that data and what we're cognizant of is many governments, particularly, say, for example, the federal government, they just spend and spend and spend regardless of how much they have coming in, and they just add trillions to the debt and so forth. And I just want people to know that Fairfield County is not operating that way. We have now for a great many years expended less than we've taken in, arguably to a fault. And we may need some corrective measures on that in the coming years to kind of draw down that incredible cash position that we've built up over those many years. Anything else under new business? Dr. Brown?
If I can add to that.
I'm sorry, I'm going to go with Commissioner Levesey, and then I'm going to go to Dr. Brown. Commissioner Levesey.
And also having one of the lowest sales tax rates in the state of Ohio, we were able to accomplish that. Just like that.
No, I appreciate that. Our sales tax rate with the state's portion included in Fairfield County is 6.75, lowest in Central Ohio. If we raised it by a quarter point, it would still be the lowest in Central Ohio. Dr. Brown.
Yesterday, we opened the request for proposals for the 2025 sexennial project. We have two competitive proposals, one from Tyler and one from ARC, which is now known as Vision.
Okay. So you're analyzing those RFPs, I assume, and we'll
Yes.
come to a conclusion in the near term as to which vendor would be selected.
That's right. It's important to note that there were competitive proposals. We're happy that there are two. There are fewer and fewer players in the industry who are able to do work of this size.
So I want to give a shout out to Dr. Brown. Years ago, when Dr. Brown and I were initially exposed to a lot of the process that's associated with real estate valuation, including the Board of Revision, we were not enamored with what we saw. Fast forward to where we are today, and we just came through a triennial, which historically would generate a tremendous number of applications to the Board of Revisions for a reevaluation of property. And that, I guess, could still yet occur. But the early numbers in terms of applicants for reval are exceedingly low. The last number I heard, I'm sure it's different now, was 35 in an environment and under situation in a triennial when you expect hundreds, if not more, in that situation. So I think the communication and work that your office is doing to let people know what you're up to and why you're doing things and what those results are. It seems at this point there's some data to support that strategy and the work that you're doing is being very effective.
Thank you. We did do 1,000 informal meetings in order to make sure the information was out there, and it's been helpful, both the mood and understanding of the process.
Congratulations to you.
Thanks to the whole team.
I'm always a little hesitant to do a touchdown dance on the 20-yard line. So, and I think we need to get to the end zone there and make sure we know what those numbers are, but they're off to a fantastic start.
The deadline is March 31st. The number includes also CAUV adjustments, which there are quite a few of those.
Understood. Anything else under new business? Is there any other issue or item that anybody'd like to bring to the attention of the commission at this time? Then we'll move on to our voting pattern. Question up there. Done. Yeah. Rise if you're able. Join us in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God,
Thank you. I was just looking down there to make sure it's Michelle. Michelle, do we have any announcements?
There are no announcements.
On the approval of minutes for March 14th, 2023.
So moved.
Second discussion. Please call a roll.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Minutes passed 2-0. From the Commissioner's Office, Resolution 2023-3.21.a, a resolution to approve a plan agreement with the County Commissioners Association of Ohio for inclusion, the Workers' Compensation Group Retrospective Rating Plan Program.
Under Commissioners, I move resolutions A and B.
Second discussion. Please call a roll.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion's passed 2-0. From the Fairfield County Auditor, Finance Department, Resolution 2023-3.21.c, a resolution approving an account-to-account transfer of appropriations, Fund 1001.
So moved.
Second discussion.
This is the resolution forecasted last week. It is to properly classify expenditures and accommodate a payout for retirement.
Further discussion. Please call a roll.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion passes 2-0. From Fairfield County Economic and Workforce Development, Resolution 2023-3.21.d, a resolution authorizing county administrator to approve an agreement with Excel Incorporated, a Massachusetts corporation, DBA DHL Supply Chain.
So move.
Second discussion.
Thank you for everyone around the county and including our partners in Violet Township Canal and getting this together. This will be a big win for county and for Violet Township. I'm really excited to get this off the ground. And thank you for Amy figuring out a way for us to be able to get it approved today so we can meet their deadline.
Rick is doing the touchdown dance.
Yes, this would be the time for the touchdown. Okay. I'll wait till.
Further discussion. Please call a roll.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion passes 2-0. From Fairfield County Emergency Management Agency, a resolution to request for appropriations for receipts for EMA Emergency Performance Grant Fund 2091.
So moved.
Second discussion.
Reimbursements for a battery fire training class.
It's now. Let's get emotional about that. Training.
Can I get you a water or anything? Further discussion. Please call a roll.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion passes 2-0. From the Fairfield County Engineers Office, Resolution 2023-3.21.f, a resolution to approve advertising for the 2023 crack seal project.
Under Fairfield County Engineer, I move resolutions F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R.
Second discussion. Please call a roll.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion's passed 2-0. From Fairfield County Human Resources, Resolution 2023-3.21.s, a resolution to approve recommendation and updates to the 2023 Personnel Policy Manual for Fairfield County employees.
So moved.
Second discussion. You mentioned something. It's a footnote, I guess, but I was out at a local establishment not long ago, and one of the employees at this establishment was just working a second job. They're actually a county employee, but they have a second job. And I introduced myself as, well, I know you are, and I told him that I appreciated him,
the work they're doing, this is the JFS employee. And then they responded that they appreciated what we're doing. And that was kind of nice to hear. And I wanted to relay that back to Deputy Administrator Porter and certainly County Administrator Connie Portal. I'm going to say former County Administrator Dr. Brown, for an environment where employees do feel like they're appreciated in the ways that we can. Being able to be out in the community and get that kind of feedback from folks is really encouraging. I know it's like one anecdotal person said something nice, and I'm making a big deal out of it, but it's indicative of a lot of feedback that we get in many different situations and environments. Further discussion. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion passes 2-0. From Fairfield County Job and Family Services, Resolution 2023-3.21.t. A resolution regarding an amendment for a previously approved network placement and related services agreement between All Adolescent Oasis Incorporated and Child Protective Services Department.
Under Fairfield County Jobs and Family Services, I move resolutions T, U, B, W, X, Y, Z, double A, double B, double C, and double D.
Second, discussion.
6 placement contracts and 3 4D contracts.
Thank you. Further discussion. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion's passed 2-0. From Fairfield County Juvenile Probate Court, Resolution 2023-3.21.e.e. A resolution authorizing the approval of Amendment Number 1 to the fiscal year 23 grant agreement with the Ohio Department of Youth Services.
Under Fairfield County Juvenile Probate Court, I move resolutions double E, double F, and double G.
Second, discussion. Slightly off the beaten path, I will just report that I sent out a draft MCJDC agreement to all of our colleagues from Hocking County, Perry County, and Lincoln County, and got a favorable nod, I guess is a way to say it, from Lincoln County, and have not received any adverse comments from Hocking or Perry. So the anticipation is that agreement in its exact current form or very close to its current form, I want to leave a little room there for somebody to make a word change here or there, should be slated for consideration by the Board of Trustees for the Maumee County Juvenile Detention System in May is what we're targeting on that. And Dr. Brown, I still have not circulated the Exhibit A to that agreement. I would expect that to be the least, if you will, of concerns raised in that situation, because I think everybody is in agreement that they would like for you to continue your service in that regard. But I will get that circulated in advance of the May meeting, just in the event there might be any question or comment on that.
The May meeting is also the time when the auditors will be together.
Yeah.
So they can sign it at the same time.
Well, if they come. Some history there. Further discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion's passed 2-0. From Fairfield County Regional Planning Commission, Resolution 2023-3.21.h.h. A resolution to approve final acceptance of the Meadowmore Reserve Section 2, Phase 1 final plat.
So move.
Second discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion passes 2-0. On payment of bills, Resolution 2023-3.21.i.i. A resolution authorizing the approval of payment of invoices for departments that need Board of Commissioners approval.
So move.
Second, discussion? Let's call the roll.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion passes 2-0. The next regular meeting is scheduled for March 28th at 9 a.m. in this room.
So just making sure I understand what we're doing here. Understand that we have a tour of the jail facility at 11 a.m. We'll have two commissioners. You're going to that, Commissioner, obviously. I'll be there, but we're adjourning and then not considering that a meeting. Is that what we're doing? All right, so, before we do adjourn, I want to go back where we started. The date at 9:07. If Commissioner Fix were here, and feeling good today, he would absolutely be berating me for the late start of our meeting and reminding me that his entire tenure as president, every meeting started on time, and now that is not true with my tenure as president. And I just didn't want the morning to go without me being ripped by Commissioner Fix. So that's all. No, that if he were here, he would be highlighting that error on my part. And I'm just covering for him, trying to make sure that I have a meeting that's representative of his thoughts and opinions as well. Is there any other issue items that anybody would like to bring attention to the commission at this time?
Quite possibly Commissioner Fix may be listening to that online.
Is that confession of the soul?
I did make a mistake. Sorry, and I apologize for it. Any other issue item? I'll accept the motion.
Motion to adjourn.
I got a motion to adjourn in a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Both same sign. The motion carries. The commissioner meeting is adjourned. We thank you all for coming.